I cannot believe that we're already in the back half of 2024.
Are you kidding me?
But here we are. Before you know it, the calendar will be turning again, and that means we are already getting ready for 2025 conferences, and one that I'm personally very excited to attend, again, is the Insights EDU Conference. If you care at all about growing enrollment and building a student-centered higher ed experience, you really should be at this conference. Registration is now open, so secure your spot while early bird pricing is still available. Visit insightsedu.com for more information and to register. That's visit insightsedu.com for more information and to register.
Hey everybody, this is Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience, and today we are extremely excited to announce our paid subscription service. By subscribing today, you will get exclusive early access to ad-free episodes, extended episodes, bonus episodes, original content. That's right, original content, and invites to special events, all while helping to sustain EdUp. To become a subscriber, go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com and subscribe to our free email newsletter to learn how you can get access. Again, go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com.
Welcome back, everybody. It's your time to Ed Up on the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business. Obviously, this is Joe Salustio. I've talked to you so many hundreds of times. If you're still listening to this, if you still listen to my voice and you haven't turned me off by now, I really appreciate it. I promise you. You probably have seen this episode that we're recording today will probably be out in the next 3 weeks. So as you listen to this, know that we recorded it 3 weeks ago. And on this day, 3 weeks ago or so, we announced, Elvin, co-founder of the EdUp Experience, and I announced that we are starting EdUp Editorials, which is going to be a way to maybe disrupt the trade pub market a little bit. We're going to, to be quite honest, what happened, this is complete honesty for the audience, is I have this article. I think it's phenomenal. And then I'm sitting around begging people to publish it in trade publications. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why don't I have somewhere I can go where somebody wants my content all the time, where you can just get stuff published if you have something to say. It doesn't have to have an angle. It doesn't have to be, it's just the inside information about higher ed that we're all pandering for. So Elvin and I are going to do it. So if you've got something to say, you're listening to this, you have something to say, or better off, write, you could say it on the podcast. But if you want to write, you have an article you want to get published and you're wondering where to do that or have had frustrations where to do that, we're going to take care of you. Send it to edupexperience@gmail.com. We're going to look it over. And if you've got something to say, particularly if it's under the hood stuff about higher ed, and we want the real gritty stuff. And if there's announcements at your university that you think you want to make, we're going to put it up on EdUp Editorials. And that's a huge thing. We're going to use our blog, the blog part of our website right now to get those articles up. We'll be able to send everybody a personalized link. And then, of course, we have a new domain that we reserved. We're going to create a website. And you know what? See what happens. A little disruption never hurt anybody, did it? Speaking of disruption, you like this transition, I want to bring you another president as we pass 300 presidents interviewed on this podcast. The amount of knowledge these people bring at this level to this podcast audience is just unprecedented, and we want to continue to do that because we just haven't even scratched the surface yet. Our guest today, she's in Arkansas. We're going to bring her in right now. She's Dr. Jennifer Methvin. She is the Chancellor of Arkansas State University, Beebe. Welcome to the mic, Jennifer. How are you?
I'm doing great today. Thanks for having me.
I'm happy to have you. And tell me, first of all, how are you doing today? How are things going?
Things are going well. This is, as you said, folks are going to be listening to this after we record it, but this is the Friday of the first week of fall 2024, and it's been a fabulous week on our campuses.
Amazing.
There is nothing like the beginning of a fall term, isn't it? It shows you the muster of your staff and faculty, and if they're ready to receive these students. Right now, it shows us how these students are coming to us, FAFSA disrupted, affordability concerns, accessibility concerns, mental health concern. and not by our doing necessarily in higher education, but we still have to receive these students. So can you talk about how you have dealt with some of the issues that you have been dealing with over the last 6 months?
Sure. So a little context so you
Yeah.
can understand a little bit about what we deal with on our campuses. So we are one of the comprehensive community colleges in the Arkansas State University system. And our main campus, which is almost 100 years old, we were founded in 1927. So creeping up on a 100-year anniversary. But our original campus is our residential campus. So we have students in dorms on this campus. We have a lot of residential students as well as commuter students. We have a campus in Searcy, which is very vocational and career focused. And that is where our regional high school students come to study in some of our programs. And then we have a beautiful campus in Heber Springs, Arkansas. If you're looking for a place to vacation, Heber Springs, Arkansas is a pretty good choice. But a beautiful, beautiful campus there with a robust nursing program and cool programming like a marine technology program, because what else would you do in a lake town?
I like that.
So we have a variety of students, about 3,800 credit students annually, but we have a lot of other students. We have a robust adult ed program. Some of those high school students are in concurrent credit for college credit. Some of them are in programs where they're in some that are not college credit, but they still come to us to study in those areas in our regional career center. We have youth programs in the summer. So when you talk about all those pressures that students are under, it's across ages. And, it's a little different for our non-traditional students than it is for our traditionally aged students. And it's absolutely a challenge every single day. But we have some fabulous, fabulous faculty and staff, and we have a robust TRIO program.
What is a TRIO program, if you would, for our audience?
I will. So that is a federal student support services, is the college level federal TRIO program, and that provides for students who qualify, and qualifications are maybe first generation or under-resourced, those sorts of things, provides an extra layer of advisement and tutoring and support for college students that is just phenomenal. We cannot give that level of support without TRIO programs in colleges like ours. There's a high school version as well. It's called Upward Bound. So we're privileged every summer and a couple Saturdays a month to have high school students on our campuses, helping them become college prepared. So again, another layer of support. But again, that gives us a variety of students who have all kinds of challenges to try to support. So
got a lot going on.
So
let me take some of the things you said and see if I got it right. So does Arkansas State University Beebe has 3 separate locations. Did I get that right?
You got that right, that we consider our, the Higher Learning Commission would consider sites, but we consider campuses. We are also on the Little Rock Air Force Base in a university.
Are these satellite campuses? Are they?
Yes.
According to HLC, they're satellite campuses?
Yes. Yeah. So we're also on the Little Rock Air Force Base, have instructional space there, not a full-blown campus, but instructional space. And then our online's pretty robust as well. So our geography.
Go up from there. So you've got, now tell us about the Arkansas State University system and where you sit in and how many campuses are there. And
okay.
This will get all those numbers.
This will get huge and confusing probably really fast. So our primary service area are 3 counties, but we have students from across the state, and actually because some of our unique programming across the United States. But there are community colleges, Arkansas State University community colleges in our state, 5 of us. And then there are 2 universities, Arkansas State University in Jonesboro, but Henderson State University is now part of the Arkansas State University system. But it gets more complex than that, Joe, okay? In Arkansas, there are 22 two-year colleges. And we operate together in some ways, realizing that our work is common and that we might be part of different systems and some of them are independent, but we work very well together, the 22 two-year colleges. So we have an association where we're affiliated, right? And then Arkansas State University is not the only system in the state, right? There's the University of Arkansas system. They too have multiple community colleges and universities, and Southern Arkansas is technically a system. They have Southern Arkansas University Tech. So it's a complex state. And then on top of all that, we have independents and private colleges, and but we're a close-knit higher ed system in the state of Arkansas. Work well together.
That's great. That's great to hear. And thank you for the context. And, one of the takeaways from what you were saying earlier is the very different student types that you have, particularly if you have, even just if you just talk about student types and ages and all this stuff, but nursing students, very different than any other type of student because of the structures you have to, I say like one of the most complex programs in higher education is nursing for a number of reasons. One, because of the nursing board, just that alone, for anybody that's dealt with nursing programs and you say nursing board and the sweat starts to bead on your head and sweat on your back, you have the testing, the green lights, you've got the NCLEX, you have a nursing faculty that act sometimes differently than other faculty because of the regulations around nursing. So you just take that, but then you add in all the other student types. That's a lot of student management of different levels, which means different support structures, different inputs and outputs. How do you keep it all straight?
So, very interesting that you mentioned nursing, because we certainly have at our institution, other institutions in the state, been trying to expand accessible slots for more nursing students. We need them badly in our state. And so with some recent grant funding we got, for instance, we put a position in as a retention specialist just to uniquely deal with our nursing students. And we have nursing students at the practical nursing level and then at the registered nursing level. And then we work very hard with our partner institutions in Arkansas State to make them bachelor's RN students when they are finished with us. And so that retention specialist to help manage, because nursing school, it's stressful for the faculty and staff. It's stressful for the students.
Big time.
And we have a part-time program in the practical nursing program to try to help with working adults. Not everybody can just take off from life and just do school. So for those students, they need different support even than for students who are able to full-time attend a nursing program. The jobs and children and trying to work and it's an incredibly difficult thing. How we manage it all is that I've said for years and years, at least in the state of Arkansas, and I was in Missouri for a short little time.
Yeah, I'm in Missouri.
You don't do this community college work if you don't really, really see the value in it and are gratified when someone's life trajectory is completely changed because they step through the door.
Tell them like it is.
And so their life has changed, and so that means their children's lives have changed, and so
generational change.
Yeah. So the economic impact that we have, and just even oh yes, I am smart enough, and I am a college graduate. That kind of self-value that folks realize when they study with us. That's what keeps our folks coming to campus every day. So they are so very good at changing with the times and what our students need to support.
You bring up something that I go back to my days working in enrollment and retention and indirectly. And I have always thought personally that the secret to really good retention was confidence building. Not saving a student, when you're trying to save the student, you're already a 50-50 chance of keeping them. But all of the confidence building you do before that, great job, good grades, let's get you this extra support. Let's talk about, how you keep doing so well in open year. That was what true retention is saying to a student, can you afford to leave? right? You can't afford to leave, right? So there was just all this confidence, because students lose confidence really quickly. It's really the first thing they lose. They lose confidence, then they lose grades, then they lose academic performance. And so that was always like, how do you get ahead of that? How do you build that confidence? But that's what you're talking about. That's really in my opinion, the secret to good retention. Calling all higher ed marketing and enrollment management professionals. Hear, hear. The Insights EDU conference is back. This is your chance to level up your marketing and enrollment management strategies, and the EdUp Experience podcast will be there once again. Join us at the Ritz-Carlton, New Orleans, February 12th through 14th for an unforgettable conference. Registration is now open with early bird pricing.
Outstanding.
Hey everybody, this is Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience. Are you enjoying the conversation so far? Good, I hope so. Did you know that you can actually hear this conversation early before anybody else and ad free, so you don't have to hear my voice during these ads? And did you also know that you could get extended episodes, bonus episodes, original content? That's right, original content and invites to special events, all while helping to sustain EdUp? Well, if you didn't know, now you know. So go to edupexperience.com, that's EDUP experience.com, and become a subscriber today. First, you got to sign up to our free email newsletter, and then you'll find out how to become a subscriber. Again, go to edupexperience.com.
Yeah, our faculty and staff work really hard to get them involved. So I tell students at orientation that I'm asking of them to make a connection with one of us who work at the institution, and then with other students, and to use those supports to not ever have any of your questions not answered. If you have a question, we want to answer it. If you don't know how something works, we want to tell you how it works, because it's lack of information that makes them lose their confidence and think, I can't do it. I was right. Or someone in my life who told me I wasn't college material was right. And I don't know what I'm doing, and I just better go get in the car and go home. That is the most dangerous thing. Their academic preparation is important, but it's not as important as that.
Yeah.
So we preach that pretty loudly. And again, our faculty and staff are really good at it. You reminded me of a wonderful experience many years ago that I had in my career, in my chief academic officer days, that proves your exact point. How many of us have sort of a college prep kind of course, a 1 hour or 3 hour course to kind of help students learn to be college students. And at the institution I was at that time, we started doing a little ceremony and giving a little pin to those people who completed that prep course with a C or better, and called them scholars. And
Excellent.
and it was just such a big deal to those students and the family members that they brought out to this little ceremony. I mean, we literally threw a tablecloth over a table, put some pins out, made certificates, put some cookies and punch out, and walked them across the stage to be declared, a scholar, and pinned. And I asked them to let me see that pin when they graduated, to have it on their graduation robe. And the pride that some of these students had in that, because many of our students in community colleges in our nation haven't necessarily had academic success before.
Yep.
And so your point is well taken, making them understand they do have a scholar in them, making them understand that they are intelligent. That's really important.
In one of the schools, now you're making me tell stories. Maybe you should just take over as the host. I remember a school that I worked for. It was a pre-graduation ceremony. We didn't call it new student orientation. We called it pre-graduation. But I remember we stood up a cap and gown on a skeleton with a mirror, right? So you could go and you could see your face in the mirror and, see your cap and gown on and imagine yourself there. So much of it is almost like visualization, right? It keeps you going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I love that. I have to steal that.
There's a skeleton laying around somewhere in that.
Oh, yeah. Now that we have all these high fidelity mannequins and all these things, I'm sure there's an extra skeleton in the biology lab somewhere.
Yeah, but it's this like almost like this subliminal messaging that you put everywhere, going, you're going to do it, you're going to finish, and some college no credential. I think we just put extra words into things. Some college no degree, now some college no credential. Students get these credits. They get sometimes lost credits that aren't pointing to something, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, I took 2 classes because I was misadvised. And those aren't going to count towards something. I'm finished. Forget this. I'm out of here.
Right.
So there's so many structures built within student experience that you have to build in to prevent those lost students. And once they go out, and I had this conversation with somebody recently too on the podcast, where we see these articles, Jennifer, you've seen them. Some college, no credential, step up, help these students, get them back. Well, what it doesn't say is a lot of these students have balances because they left their school, they didn't pay their bill because they left, were upset, whatever. So now they've got a balance. They could be in financial aid default. Because they didn't pay that loan off because of all these other reasons. Now you've got to have 6 consecutive, I think the rule is still 6 consecutive payments to the Department of Education on your Title IV loan to come out of default. So you've got to wait 6 months. You've got to have diligence to pay that every month. If you have a balance, you have to pay that balance off. Or if you're going to a new school with a balance, that new school is going to say, you got a balance at the old school. Now I'm going to expect you're going to come to my school and you're going to do the same thing and end up with a balance with us. So I'm going to take an AR risk on you. So there's these unsaid structures around some college no credential that aren't highlighted very much because I feel like people who are writing about it don't actually know what's going on inside the detail.
Right. They don't know the reality of that student and what they have faced. I would tell you that I can tell you a story of a student who was a student worker and came to my office, because again, if I'm the one you make a connection with, you come to my office, and said, I'm not going to be able to make this next payment because someone else in my family has access to the account where my student work study money goes, and it's not there. The complex lives of people aren't always, there in the story. And then you said it, there's a reality of our accounts receivable. That's a real number that we truly have to be concerned about. And so both of those realities, yes, are difficult for folks to understand.
Well, and that student comes and I don't know where the rule is now or where it ended up. And I think we're moving in the direction where we're going to be able to release transcripts to students. But previously, if you had a balance with another institution, they're not going to give you your transcripts. So you can't get the credit to start. You'd have to start over. That's why we have 42 million, because they don't want to start over and they can't get their credits because they owe money. It's
Right.
almost that simple, isn't it?
And I have argued for a long time. This makes no sense to me. Why, if someone is trying to get their act together and finish their credential and get into the profession they were, why are we holding their transcript? So it's actually a rule change I'm pretty excited about. We have already determined for our students that we will no longer do any transcript holds, even under the circumstances in which we could do them. As defined by the new rule.
By the way, those are laughable circumstances, right? Where so you can hold, let me see if I have it right. You can hold the transcript for credits that are not attributed to Title IV financial aid. So if a student paid cash, you could hold the credit. So you'd actually have to split credits within a 3-credit course and transcript it. It's like, we don't have the technology to do that or the time. Can you imagine?
Right.
So you just got to hand out the transcript. I think every school is just going to go, here you go, which is better for the student in a lot of ways.
It is better for the student, because if they can take what credit they've earned and continue to progress, that's the positive thing.
So what kind of trends are you seeing in Arkansas among the 2-year student population? We have the valued degree is in question. Are you seeing upticks in degree, upticks in non-credit courses or workforce credentialing? Tell us about what kind of trends the area is experiencing.
Sure. So like every other community college in the nation, we probably enrollment wise peaked about 2008 in Arkansas, and had been on a pretty steady decline in enrollment over the decade past that. And then we have the COVID years.
It's fuzzy math.
Yeah, it is fuzzy math. but what we have seen over the last two falls is a great re-engagement. And not only is enrollment trending back up, but our students are arriving excited, right? So at one time we thought, well, everybody's just going to move to online and we're not going to need any bricks and mortar. But the trend is kind of interesting, and it's not just at ASU-Beebe, but I would tell you that about a third of our students are 100% online, of our credit students are 100% online. About a third are mixing it up. Yeah. Right? They do some face-to-face and they balance their schedule, they say, with online, and about a third are 100% face-to-face. And that's probably going to start that some online, some in person is growing gradually, and it's probably going to take some of those 100% face-to-face. But students are picking and choosing where they do online to balance things out. The engagement that our students have returned to us with, they want campus life. They want to be on campus. We do so many pre-professional program courses for students who are preparing to go to a university and get into a professional program to become, a physician or something. We do a great number of science classes. They like coming. Students like coming to our campus, particularly our Beebe campus, having a professor, being in a class of 25 and a professor who wants them to do well in organic chemistry or anatomy and physiology and get into that professional program or complete our health sciences associates, which is very well aligned with those programs, that they want that to happen. And so those students have decided that doing that online, while some still make that choice, many have said, hey, can I come back to campus and be in class? So that's an interesting and encouraging trend that I have seen in our state and particularly on our campuses.
Does that make it harder to manage?
It absolutely makes it harder.
Online classes, on-ground classes. The student wants 2 of these and 2 of those, and the student wants 3 of those and 1 of those. And you've got ground faculty, adjunct faculty. You've probably got some faculty that go, I don't want to teach online, or some that say, I only want to teach online. And scheduling becomes a whole thing.
Right. It is our deans and our vice chancellor and associate vice chancellor of academics are just constantly, right? It's a look at the schedule every day. How many seats are there available every day? Our advising and learning center kind of keeps them informed. There's a report run every week. Where do we need seats? Where do we have too many seats? Well,
let's start the insanity.
And so it's something to be managed. So those folks that think academic administrators are just kind of sitting around having not much to do since they're not teaching so much anymore, don't realize that balance that has to happen there.
Well, and I think a lot of times we think academics aren't managing revenue, but when you're managing course sizes, you're absolutely managing revenue. If you've got one instructor and 7 students in a class, I mean, maybe you're paying for that faculty member, but you've got no margin on that class. You're not making any surplus. Maybe you've got 17 in there or 18 or 19. And then, of course, there's probably some threshold of for online versus on grounds 25 and some threshold of when you hit, then you hit and split and, all of those, but you're managing you're managing efficiency. If you're efficient with your course sizes, let me go the other way. If you're inefficient with your student to staff ratios, that can absolutely kill your bottom line.
Absolutely. And it's more complex than that because that there is a difference in the cost of delivering instruction course to course. And we recently did a pretty in-depth study on that of what the instruction costs. So there's managing that as well. But managing in a way that we continue to keep those graduates out there who are in these high demand, high wage areas that are usually also more costly to instruct, that we keep those pipelines going for our employers in our areas.
A good example of what you're saying, if there's somebody sitting around going, well, how does that work? Well, a humanities faculty member, for example, somebody teaching history, it's much less expensive to deliver that education than nursing. Even just the faculty pay itself, whatever. You're talking about equipment and supplies and all of those instructional costs that are just higher than having one textbook for a course. And that's why the staff to student ratio is so important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Morning.
We have a computerized machining program that we have gotten added robotics to through grant funding, a lot of really, really high dollar machines. In fact, when I walk back there, and I think how dependent business and industry in our area is on that, but I think of the value of that machinery that's sitting there. It's incredible. And honestly, without those grant programs and ways that we can try to fund that, there's no way we can put that cost on the student.
Sometimes those grants are great, and sometimes it's like, okay, you bought this super tens of thousands of dollar machine, and then there's no extra money to fix it. If it breaks, now you got to fix it, and so then somebody touches it, and you go, don't touch it, don't break it.
Well, I think our students are on them all day long, every day, and our faculty keep them busy. And I think our faculty can mostly fix them. That's
there you go.
That's the beauty of some of those programs.
There you go. You got to have some talented machinists around to fix things. How's enrollment? Now, you talked about. You said it's kind of on the uptick. What are we talking about? Like, you got one more student than you thought you'd have, or?
So last fall we were up about 3% over the previous fall. We expect the same this fall.
Surprise.
Or perhaps even more than that. Maybe more encouraging than that, I talked about the Regional Career Center. That's high school students. So the idea, I don't know if this is the case in every state, but in Arkansas, the idea of a Regional Career Center is these programs that require a lot of equipment and specialty talent to teach, like diesel technology and automotive technology and computerized machining and others that I mentioned there, that instead of every high school trying to provide that through their CTE programs, that you have a central place that students can go. And in our area, that's us, both on the Searcy campus and on the Heber Springs campus. And enrollment in Regional Career Center programming is up. And I can't wait to see how much up. Again, we're at the Friday of the first week. And so we have some schools even who are still starting school. So our actual number on those, but that's exciting because that means, again, that there's re-engagement and more of a realization of the value of those programs. We have more and more students, as you mentioned early on, more and more people, I guess, as you mentioned early on, who don't see the value in higher education. And that's why educational attainment rates aren't where we want them to be, not just in Arkansas, but across the United States. But convincing folks that there are shorter term programs that are really economically rewarding is sort of difficult. And so sometimes parents will say, well, that's fine. So-and-so's child can go over to the Searcy campus and study computerized machining, and that'll be really good for them, but not my child, right? And so not my child becomes me, Jennifer Methvin, who got an English degree and then figured out how to make a living with it, right? Mm-hmm. And so, but to see that much engagement in our young people in these programs leads me to believe that folks are beginning to see the value of that kind of instruction. And if we can get them some training before they leave high school that gets them on a career pathway, we'll be here when they want to go higher on that career pathway. And if we can get parents to understand that we graduate students from these technical programs every day who immediately go into the industry and make more than the person who taught them. These are valuable, rewarding careers that are not your grandfather's blue collar work. If we can continue to make progress on having folks understand that, then I think our college going rates are going to continue to climb.
100%.
You hit on, I think, really a key theme, which is, the community college enrollment's been swinging so rapidly. COVID just like decimated it, and then you get and then AI, creates this wonderful opportunity for re-enrollment and changes the way people think about skills to jobs, and community colleges fill that void, right? That's what community colleges are really good at, is short-term, I don't want to say short-term, but let's call it faster educational training to get you out and working. And the part that I think we fail to realize in this conversation and value is what happens like in the third or fifth job, ninth, 10th job, why an education is still valuable. It doesn't mean go get a 4-year degree. It means you might go back in 4 years to get your 4-year degree, especially if you started a community college and you start working. Then you could pay for your own education, which parents love, by the way. And adults be a lot. There's nothing greater than being able to pay cash for your education when you start making enough money that you don't need to take out loans, right? I mean, that's like the holy grail for any student. Is we just track like what happens next, but the degree can pay off for years and years, and I don't think we do a good job telling that story.
Yeah, no, I'll agree. We don't do a good job of telling that story. And we don't always do a good enough job of reaching the working student and helping them see what that next step up might be. And we're really focused on that at ASU-Beebe. We're trying to tell that story better. We have articulation agreements with everybody in the state, but we have an awesome set of 2 sister universities who have transfer programs and want our students to access those next steps if and when they need those next steps. And so we're trying to do better at that for sure.
Fantastic.
What else do you want to say about Arkansas State University Beebe campus before we go to our subscriber only episode?
Well, I believe that that the employees of our institution would be very surprised to not hear me talk about the other thing that we've been really, really focused on, and we've touched around it as we've talked today. But it is what we call the gray box, and that is those students who don't find value in higher education or don't believe they can pay for it, or a myriad of reasons, so they don't matriculate anywhere the fall after their high school graduation. And we call those students the gray box students for 2 reasons. One's the graphic that we use. So we track by high school of those seniors who came to ASU-Beebe, who went somewhere else, and who didn't go anywhere that next fall. And we, quantify that for ourselves.
Did you say quantify?
You will learn by the numbers. I will teach you.
I was waiting to use that.
Yeah. And then we talk about those students. Maybe they got something while they were in high school at a regional career center or something else, but maybe they didn't. And then they become working adults with truck payments and children to take care of and insurance and life gets to them. But that's our people, and we can be, that's who we exist as comprehensive community colleges to take care of. And we can be focused on the enrollment cliff, or we can be focused on the thousands and thousands of working adults, young and old, who need a pathway to a better career. And so we're trying to be nimble and innovative in providing those onboarding pathways for working adults, whether they're 18 and a half and just got out of high school, or they're 35 and need to make a transition in their career. Providing that pathway for a different career, better economic future. And so of all the complexities we've talked about today, that adds a whole nother level of complexity, because that same pathway is not going to work for every student. And so really trying to change the way we've always done things is a constant thought with us. How can we serve those gray box students better and make their lives better?
We might talk about that in our second part of the episode here. But Jennifer, it's been an absolute honor to have you on. And I'm going to have you back in just a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen. She's Dr. Jennifer Methvin. She's the Chancellor at Arkansas State University, Beebe. We hope you had fun here talking to our audience and being on the podcast, Jennifer.
I did. This is a great joy. Thank you. I love talking about community colleges.
Well, we'll talk more. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just ed-upped.
Hey, everybody. This is Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience. Did you enjoy that conversation? I hope you did. Did you know that you can actually hear this conversation early on and ad-free? And you can also hear extended episodes, bonus episodes, original content. That's right, original content and invites to special events, all while helping to sustain EdUp. Did you know that? Well, if you didn't know, now you know. To become a subscriber, go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com to subscribe to our free email newsletter to learn how you can get access. Again, that's edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com.
Higher education is evolving. And if you're in marketing and enrollment management, then you need to be at the Insights EDU conference.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Insights EDU 2025 is happening February 12 through 14 in New Orleans, Louisiana. This is your chance to explore the latest trends in higher education and discover new and innovative strategies to level up your program marketing and enrollment. Hear from some of the best speakers in the industry, from companies like Google, LinkedIn, Adobe, and more. Registration is now open, so secure your spot while early bird pricing is still available.